Und ein herzliches Willkommen zu einem weiteren Part der Let's Play Fake Run Order. Ich bin das Fix. Wir sind immer noch in Tunguska und beim letzten Mal sind ja wir hier nun einen Pakt eingegangen mit unserer guten Nikic und dem werten Taigong. Der hat uns hier in meinem Kampf gegen Ivan den Schrecklichen, also eine Kopie von diesem, gesetzt. Und nun geht es darum, dass wir ein bisschen das Land erkunden und er uns auch hier erzählen will, wieso manche Servant es hier schaffen zu existieren, während andere es nicht so haben. Ach ja, und Nikic hat beim letzten Mal schöne, leckere Fische gefangen. Komm mal. Ach ja, und sie hat als Drachen einen perversen Drachen. You got it, boss. Einen sadistischen, perversen Drachen. Let's go, let's go, let's go! They got on drinks back and took to the skies above the forest. Taigong Wang advised them to be cautious and avoid contact with the Losken. As they made their way to the canyon off in the distance. The white dragon's powerful wings carried them quickly, and it wasn't long before they arrived at their destination. After a careful survey of the surrounding to ensure there were no Losken nearby, the dragons brought them down through the landing. There. The canyon's surprising strike stretched out before them. Oh, nochmal süße Tierchen. Oh, das gefällt mir. Das sieht ja süß aus. Was ist das? Ein Schaf? Mit Hasenohren und ein Ziegenbock. Oh, you don't see many enemies like this every day. Don't you do like that naturally a four-legged beast? No, I can't remember ever seeing animals like that before. You're sure none of the Lost Kings spotted you, Ibuki? Don't worry, I scouted ahead before I came here. We should be good. I saw 3 groups of them on the ground, and none of them looked to be that strong. So that's the deal with those animals. These are some of the things I wanted you to see. They are much easier to show than describe. So, do you happen to know what the animals are called? Ist ein Mischmasch aus allen Tieren. Fu? No, I didn't. Physically, the closest animal I can think of is a goat. But they diverged too much to the species of a goat. A goat? Or maybe a sheep? If there's legs, I don't think so. I give up. I have no memory of anything like them, and they don't match any entries in the border's copy of Chaldea's database either. If they're not normal animals, maybe they're phantasmas? That's definitely possible. They could well be paranormal, beings from a realm of mystics similar to demonic beasts and phantasmal. Or not belonging to any standard creatures, generically tree? Still, I don't know. I get the sense that they are just ordinary animals from the natural world, in no way associated with mystics. They seem that way to me too. They do seem a little too rustic to be phantasmas, and they absolutely look like they have a place in the food chain as well. Indeed, indeed. Let me cut right to the chase. Those animals are not native to Tunguska. They are also not phantasmas, nor do they have any notable amount of magic energy. And yet they are the predominant form of life here, with no predators to worry about. So they are at the top of the food chain? They form here, you see? They start in very small groups, then expand into vast herds. Let's see, I'd say there are several hundred of them to a herd, just in this canyon alone. You mean, out here, in this environment? That's right. Well, that's strange. Regardless of the creature, hippopotamus, cannibals, or animals, I don't see any food sources around here. This is only a colony. They hunt for food elsewhere, primarily in rivers and woodlands. Or rather, those whose vocation is hunting do it for them. Huh? I'm sorry, what? Did you just say vocation? Yes, I did. The first thing you should know is that these creatures have families. They also form settlements, have different roles according to their profession, and otherwise contribute to the settlement. That is, the society. Though, of course, the children are exempt from the responsibility. Incidentally, they have a very diverse set of professions. And since they formed the society, you could also say they are social creatures. Wait, hang on. That sounds like they're kinds of insects, or maybe even... humans? Right, senpai. In the Russian Lost Belt, humans can alter themselves to adapt to the harsh new environment. If something similar happened, then it's kind of ever then. No, I'm afraid that's not it. Please don't misunderstand, those creatures are absolutely not humans. But I suspect they have been designed to be the most human-like creatures here, even if they do lack the capacity of self-awareness. Take a look at that. Those creatures have designed to favor familiar love above else. You mean, like humans? Good question. Make you uneasy, doesn't it? I felt the same way when I first learned about this. Unfortunately, Nikich just hasn't cared at all every time I tried to tell her how strange this is. Of course. You don't need to explain the obvious. That's what obvious means. See what I mean? Now then, let me share another important fact with you while you're processing this new information. These creatures are not the only entity to be found here. Huh? You mean there are still more? Like what? To start, there's not so much as one creature in this entire place that we actually recognize. Well, okay, that may not be true of the microorganism, but I have not had the means to check on that. However, it is true of insects, the fish, the trees. Every single living thing you see, even those freshwater trout we ate earlier, weren't actually trout. They may have looked like trout, but their internal organs and such, they are arranged like no fish I've ever seen. So every animal here is special. Exactly. This place is a biological stream. Outside the special region, discoveries of new species are few and far between, but here, there's one around every corner. And what's more, you can't even tell which generical tree they might have evolved from. I'm not really up to date on modern science, but I can get by quite decency with my feng shui. And even so, I have no clue how those creatures could have evolved the way they did. Not even an inkling. Nothing about their composition or their ecology makes any sense. As far as I can tell, they shouldn't have existed. You're sure about that? I am. Why should Kernskaya do something like this? That is the question, isn't it? Sadly, I'm as clueless as the rest of you, dear. All I can say for sure at this point that I'm observed for myself as to what this place the ruler might be up to. The Chaldeans decided they should verify Tai Gong Wang's claims to themselves and set about making their own observation and collect samples. They made sure to send their video captures of their efforts to the Shadow Border. They did not have advanced specimen collection kits with them, but they did have the basic ones in the Ortinox storage compartment, so they used those to transit their data back to the border. Following a bit of field research, the Shadow Border's crew had enough data to analyze. About an hour later, Kadir finally had a solid understanding of this region's unique properties. Tai Gong Wang had been telling the truth. The environment was as far removed from human histories as the Lost Belt. Furthermore, unlike the Lost Belt they had encountered so far, there were no humans. Not a single solitary person to be found anywhere. There were no creatures obviously capable of speech, nor were there any who formed cultural civilization. While there were large herds off the top of the food chain, there were no creatures standing above it. There were no humans anywhere to be found, nor keine Feen. While there were some creatures who formed groups like humans, there was no sign of an actual human. There were no signs of settlements, no leftover traps from hunters who had set foot in the woods. Not even a sign of one getting lost and making camp for night. There should have been at least a few traces of such things in the old Tunguska forest, and yet there were not. It was a world full of strange, unknown plants and animals and nothing more. It's like a sanctuary for creatures that don't exist on Earth. It's beautiful. Yes, it is. I'm not quite sure how to put it in words, but I think there is something beautiful about this landscape too. So that's how you two feel about this, huh? You don't hate or fear those things because they are new and unfamiliar? Instead, they excite you precisely because they are new and unfamiliar, much like explorers charging the land. Perhaps that's due to your unwavering bravery, or to youthful states of mind. Did you hear that? Looks like those young people have good heads on the shoulders, Tai Gong Wang. I'm not sure that means as much as you might think, coming from an eternally young warrior like yourself. At any rate, now that you've seen this land for yourself, here's something I can finally tell you. This primary landscape you see here is only a side of this special region. There's also a second, very different side to it. A second side? I call the one you're seeing now the life zone. The life zone is truly the cycle of nature, with writ rare large. It's a place where any form of violence other than what's strictly needed to acquire food doesn't exist. A place where life is rich and abundant. A paradise. So, what's the other side? Wir werden es bald herausfinden, denke ich mal. The other side is the exact opposite of paradise in a world. The land of death, oder? Hell. Das hört sich nicht gut an, aber ich denke, genau da werden wir reingehen, da werden wir viele, viele freundliche dieser wunderbaren Lost Kids treffen. Da bin ich mir fast sicher. Und wir freuen uns natürlich. Section 6 from Murder's Wastelands. Können wir nicht hier bleiben, wo die schönen, süßen Tiere rumlaufen und mit denen einfach ein bisschen spielen? Nö, Max, das wäre langweilig. Komm, wir gehen da, wo Tod und Verderben ist, das ist viel cooler. At voices like memories. Then I hear truths. My slumber was necessary for growth. Stone, iron, fire, oil. Countless intense torrents. Each one a tool that tore the world apart, paving the way for a new age. They were both loathsome and awe-inspiring. That explains it. If this is what humans are like, then of course they would take whatever they could. Countless thundering roars, deafening sounds of violence, ticking, cutting, shooting, developing. As I listened to this lullaby of life and death, I became more and more myself. Suddenly death, sudden power, sudden thunderclaps, coexisting in conflict, preservation and disposal, exploration and subordination. And on top of all that, you continue to laugh to be laughed. How horrible, how wonderful. The edges of my mouth curled into a smile. That's fine. If that's how you are, that's fine. Contradiction, failures, deviants, egoists, you have primal urges to seek love, then toy with it once found. If that's it what you are, then I should be able to do the same. Also was immer Coin Sky war, sie ist halt in eine Explosion gekommen. Was? Alter, was war denn hier? Oh mein Gott. Echt ein Massaker. Alter, was sind das für Viecher? Hier ist es töten, einfach um zu töten. Der war der Gatlings, Mann. Das ist NFF-Service in its best. Also, so wie ich das sehe, hat sie im Endeffekt halt das Leben halt erkannt. Den Schmerz halt der Tiere und der Wesen. Und im Endeffekt wurde halt zu einem Menschen. Also, hat halt für die Lebewesen halt hier im Endeffekt ein Paradies erschaffen. Für alles andere, keine Ahnung, schlachten die sich eigentlich gegenseitig ab. Gibt es da einen Sinn dahinter? Alles sind gruselige Wesen, Mann. Gefällt mir nicht. Und schlachten sich auch gegenseitig an. It was a massacre. Groups of creatures, seemingly of the same species, spat fire from their martial organs and killed one another, firing uncountable lead projections. After each kill, they sneered. They moved to another, targeted, killed it, and sneered again. Over and over, again and again, with no end in sight. The group ran red with blood, and before I could dry, new blood poured in. The death zone. Murder, slaughter, killing, killing, and more killing. An unbroken chain of massacre, massacre, repeated time after time. A cruel and brutal world that caused the life zones existed into question. This is populated by a lost-kin subspecies made from mixing 6 different species together. All the twisted creatures do here is use their built-in farms to kill one another, having nothing to do with any food chain. It's like something straight out of hell. I call the second side The Death Zone. Gibt es irgendein Buch von Stephen King namens Die Todeszone, was hier übrigens, The Dead Zone, was übrigens hier direkt neben mir liegt. Puh. This is really something. Now I wish your video feed hadn't been in full color. May sound no stranger to conflict, I've seen some stuff. It takes a lot to surprise me. But well, let's say my plans to make roast beef diner was turned up into smoke. Now what are you supposed to do for Diner Tiger Wang? I do apologize for that. Nevertheless, I felt it was both important, not to mention faster for you to see for yourself. Simply describing it wouldn't convey the truth of this area's essence after all. Essence? Is that supposed to be a joke? Where on earth are we supposed to get out of seeing the preserve so incredibly nationless ourselves? I knew Chaldea's leader would understand. That's exactly. Huh? Nastiness. That's it. Gary Richard, this place does seem like it would be right up that Fox Twisted Ally, which I hasten to add. Doesn't make me any happier to have seen it. And alright, I understand why you're doing this, but do you think you could do it a little easier or not? Our field op team is still young and in principle. You know, I don't want to develop into negative mindsets. Thanks for looking out for us, Director. Well, of course, your welfare is important after all. So, don't pressure yourself to confront everything at once, or shoulder your self-responsibility strictly necessary. Oh, you're looking out for your team's mental health. The sign of a good commander. Stop it. We don't need a major agony throwing up right now. This is gross. Courageous charges and death. Valiant chunks of meat flying in all directions. Blood spraying in the air. This is one of the just described slide like that. Not seeing them in person really is icky. Yeah. You said you call this place Death Zone, huh? Even with all that fighting, there are no winners or losers here. They're killing for killing's sake, dying just to die. Is that what fighting's supposed to be about? I guess in a sense, that might be exactly or is it? I hate this. Memories and feelings are all a jumble. I don't want to look at this anymore, period. Fool. The Wrangler's right. If you ask me, Tatars who attacked Russia were a perfect example. Those battles we fought against the bloodthirsty Tatars were just meaningless shows of nastiness too. Like the dragon said, that may be part of what fighting is all about. But a wasteland of nothing but death and destruction, that's just too... Never mind. I shouldn't speak of such things, forget I said anything. Russia? Come to think of it, you're Russian hero, aren't you, Nikic? Of course, just like every Bogatyr. If there's a threat to the northern motherland, I'd be there to help. I'd do the same even if we're in the middle of the subspecies Holy Grail War. Honestly, I wish I could have fought in the Russian Lost Bill too. I'm so strong, I can do just about anything. I can even do something about the horrors of war threatening the northern motherland. Phew. Yep, I could handle him. Oh, you're so confident. Then what about the giant elephant, even the terrible? I could handle him too. Foo, foo! Foo. Of course I'm not lying. I can do that about anything. I might not be able to defeat the actual original Lightning Tsar on my own, but there are still things I can do against them. Artillery keeps fighting and never gives up. They make their own opportunities. If they lack the strength, they find their allies to help. Nothing is truly impossible. Then, could you cut down the tree of emptiness? No, I can't do that. So, you don't claim you can do everything. I've not been saying just about anything. I can get rid of the enemies invading my land, but if I'm not a materialist, I can't do anything. It schaut sich gerade sehr süß. I couldn't stop the earth from being bleached or the lost belt from taking root. In the end, I'm still just one warrior. But even so, I swore an oath. Once I agreed to something, I always keep my word. So now that I've materialized here, I'm going to save my northern motherland. That's really encouraging to hear. Right, go on, keep rephrasing coming. Well, there's arguably such a thing as being too dutiful. There's a legend about how the original Nikic nearly lost his beloved wife to another warrior because of his overdeveloped sense of duty, just, you see. How did it go again? Did you spend so a long tour in Constantinople? That's the Grand Prince of Grief tried to convince your wife you're never coming back and that you should remarry. Yeah, that's right. Near losing my beloved wife, to my sense of duty was my wake-up call to not let it get in the way of other important things. Huh? Why are you upset, Nikiti? If anyone has the right to be angry here, that should be your wife, no? You know, that's a good point. I swear. Das hat sie zu arg getroffen. Seid sind so gemein zu der Kleinen. Okay, I'm done collecting data. It looks like all this horrid bipedal species are apparently all have a bunch of guilty guns. We'll just keep killing each other as long as we stay enough away from them. Luckily, they can detect things from far away, since their scanning range isn't great. They do seem to be second some serious firepower, but it's strictly optimized for head-on-head combat. It doesn't look like they have any patrol units. You don't look so hot, Da Vinci. Me, totally fine. It's you guys I'm worried about. Those aren't exactly the most pleasant sights you're seeing after all. It's the inherent darkness of those things. These common beasts in the desert inspire indescribable discomfort in people by their very nature. Common beast? That's pretty on the nose, but it's also nice and straightforward. Anyway, those things walk on two legs like humans. They kill with guns like humans. And above all, they're obsessed with killing like humans. The llama you guys saw on Uruk were pretty horrific creatures too, but they at least had the intelligence to follow their mother. But these combat beasts don't have even that. It's like they were born solely to kill each other. In a way, they're more characters of humans, however much they evolved act like beasts. Humans would never see it in that creature of the natural world. Cruelty. Evocativity said cruelty might be part of what fighting is all about, but it's only true for battles between humans. Fights in the natural world aren't like that at all. Then let me ask you this, Lady Da Vinci. Why do these combat beasts possess those two qualities? In fact, let's put it another way. Why did Kern Sky endow them with those traits? First thing comes to mind. That's fine with me. I'm guessing, I admit, but it's not hard at all. I bet anything she did it to kill humans. Brilliant. I should have known you'd get right to the heart of it, Leonardo da Vinci. You truly are the Renaissance genius. And let me add one more thing. Your analysis earlier was largely correct, but it missed a crucial detail. I believe the combat beast scanning range is very short, at least for others of the kind. But the question is it also short for the primary prey? So they largely ignore rock splits, but it's super quick to target humans? That's my theory. Then that would mean I'm here dabei. Wait to murder the lead. Damn it, Maxi Mesh. Preparing to intercept the enemy monster. Go get him. Understood. Initiating counter-attack now.
ちょっとあれあんまり使いたくないんだけど。運命を受け入れなさい。無の荒野、光る王冠、豪奢に咲くバラのごとく。レビューシュラフラ
真なるエーテルを導かんどんな思いの形総武アラケルスス
そこ本気出すからね。ちょっと切り込むのね。合わせるわ。やります。なんか来た。ふわふわってキュイーンキュイーンって。嘘、私かっこよすぎ。やりすぎなのだわ。どいて負けないぞ。切り込むのね。やっ
あなたには理解できないでしょう。
Okay, liebe Leute, diese furchtbaren Viecher werden uns hier noch weiter belästigen und wir werden uns auch um diese kümmern. Aber erst beim nächsten Mal von der Fake Grand Order. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen. Ciao.